Hey there, YouTube. This is Sir Daniel 1975, and I am here to start a new video series, Beginning Music Theory. Okay. And my reasoning for this is kind of personal, um, as is just another one of the many people with a music degree. Uh, Very often I find that many other musicians that I'm around are either um, they do not know their music theory, or their knowledge of music theory has lessened over the years because they're just out of practice of thinking about the things that are involved with music theory, like chords and stuff and how they're built. And so this is sort of day one of music theory. And in the way I'm going to have to teach this, because I'm not going to teach what all the rhythms are for these notes and all that stuff. You really need to be able to read music already. Otherwise, it's just going to be too difficult to continue. So everything's going to be in the key of C. And here we have the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I've got it in treble and bass clef. And I've got it on a piano score type of sheet music so that you can see, okay? Additionally, in the key, the first note of the key in a scale is known as note one. And of course, the next note would be note two, note three for the third note, and so on, okay? So that is the basis for building some of the chords and the intervals and things as we go on. So, first off, since we're here with something that will play it back, let's listen to C major scale. Okay, so that's the C major scale. Now I'm going to skip the next four measures. We're going to go to measure 7 here so that we can start at where the intervals are. So the first intervals that I got here are C to D. Okay, so that would be the first note of the scale and the second note of the scale. And because we're in a major key, it's actually labeled as a major second. It also has to do with the count of intervals between these notes in this position in the scale and the key. So in between here, you would have a C sharp or a D flat, and then the note. So that is a whole step away. Okay, and that's what gives you the major second. Okay, so let's play that. Okay, so that's your major second. Da da. Those are the notes. Okay, and then you come over here to the next interval, which is your major third. So in between here, you would have a a D flat or a C sharp, and then a D. Okay, and then a D sharp or an E flat, and then an E. So those are the intervals. Those are the missing notes that are in between there. Okay, and since you got two whole steps, that gives you a major third. Okay, so the half step would be C to C sharp or C to D flat. Okay, and we understand that C sharp and D flat are the same note, right? And we also understand that D sharp and E flat are the same note. Okay, please understand that. So in between here, the dead center would be the D. Okay, all right. So that's your major third interval. All right, and that sounds like a very happy sound. Okay. All right. And then so the next interval is C to F. Okay. It is a major fourth. Okay. And so then it would be from from C to C sharp to D to E flat to E to F. Okay. And that is your major fourth. And it sounds like this. Okay, and then your next interval is your major fifth, C to G. Okay, that'd be, because the G is the fifth note of the scale in the key of C. All right, so that would, in between there would be the C sharp, the D, the E flat, the E, the F sharp, and the G. Those are all the notes that are in between the climb to the G. Okay, and that's going to sound like this. Okay, then you have a major sixth. So then after the G, you have a G sharp or an A flat, and then the A. Okay, and that sounds like this. Okay, and then here you have a major seventh for the next measure. So the C to a B. Okay, so after this A, you would have the B flat and then the B, or an A sharp and then the B. Okay, so we understand that an A sharp and a B flat is the same note. Okay, so a major seventh sounds like. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the scales. Okay, and when you come over here, there is the Roman numeral 1 here on this third measure above a C, an E, and a G. Okay, that is the chord that goes along, or the triad. Okay, because it's three notes, tri. Okay, goes along, that is part of the C major triad. Okay, C, E, and G. Okay, and it's built upon the notes that are within the scale and the key. Okay, it does not have other notes in here with accidentals and whatnot. Okay, so when you build the chords with the notes that are in the key, the Roman numerals that are built from each note above that triad are going to be the same on whatever key you're in. So if we were doing D major, the first chord would be a large Roman numeral 1, okay, and a big I, okay, and two little I's as a lowercase Roman numeral 2, which is known as a minor chord. So it's a minor 2 chord. It's going to be the same in any key. So if it's in D major, it'll be E, G, B. Okay, but here we're in C major, so it's D, F, and A. Okay, so those two chords sound like this. Okay. Okay, the next two chords over here, we have the E minor chord, and in this key, the E minor chord is the third scale degree, gets a lowercase Roman numeral 3, three little I's. And this chord to be major, you'd have to have a G sharp in it. But since we're in the major key, we're not adding any accidentals, we're just building the chords from the notes within the key. It is a minor 3 chord, okay? Just in the case, if we double back over here, we go back to the D chord, okay? If it was an F sharp, then it would be a major 2 chord, but it's not, okay? It is an F natural, okay? So let's get back to the 3 chords. So we're at the 3 chord, and now we're going to the 4 chord, which is built on the 4th scale degree from the F, F, A, C, and that's going to be a major triad, okay? Let's play those 2 chords so you hear how they sound. Okay, let's do that again. Don't want to hear the other chord. Okay, And now going to the next measure, which is going to have starting off with a 5 chord. Okay, so you have your G, B, and D. G is the 5th scale degree to C. Therefore, you get a 5 chord, and it's an uppercase 5. It's a major. Okay, so a general rule here is that the uppercase Roman numerals are major, and the lowercase Roman numerals are going to be minor, unless, of course, there's something else. And we're going to get to that in one of these next chords. So anyway, so this is a major, okay? And then this chord right next to it, the A, the C, and the E, that is a minor chord. And that is your minor 6 chord in the key of C, okay? Let's listen to how they sound. Okay, all right. So if the 6th chord had been major, there would be a C sharp in there. And since we're not adding any accidentals and we're in the key of C and every note is natural, this is the way the triad from the note A is built, and it is a minor chord. Okay? All right, at the next measure, we have a B diminished chord, which is B, T, and F. Okay? And the Roman numeral way of writing it, and this is one way, there's two ways, is a lowercase 7 Roman numeral, which is a V and 2 I's, and with a DIM, abbreviation for diminished, or with a degree symbol up in the top right corner of the last I. Now, I have to tell you, this program I'm using wouldn't let me do the degree symbol in the text here. So I had to do the abbreviation for DIM. Okay. So there you go. So that's B diminished. Okay. And then, of course, we have a repeat of the C chord, but in the next octave. That's all. So those two chords next to each other sound like this. Okay. All right. So to further explain this, and I'll try to make this quick, the 1 chord in the key of C is a C major, and you could also write it with a uppercase C, okay, right here, or you can write it with an uppercase C and an uppercase M after it, meaning C major, okay. Those are a couple other ways of writing it. All right, the 2 minor chord here, which is a D minor chord, can be written with an uppercase D and a lowercase m, or it could be written with a lowercase d. Again, the chord symbols in this program wouldn't allow me to do a lowercase d. So I had to do uppercase D and a lowercase m. So that's going to be the case for all those situations for minor and diminished chords. The E minor chord here, E, G, and B over here, another way of writing it is with an uppercase E and a lowercase m, or a lowercase e. Okay, same chord, same notes, just 2 ways of notating what it is above the chord. Okay, or marking what it is above the chord. Your F major, and you could write in uppercase F, or you can write an uppercase F and an uppercase M for F major. Okay, your G, GBD is a major chord. It's a major 5 chord. One way of noting is just a regular G, uppercase, or a uppercase G and an uppercase M, as in G major. A minor chord here, A, C, E. You can write with a lowercase Roman numeral 6, or you can write it with an uppercase A and a lowercase m, or a lowercase a. Okay? And then with your B diminished chord, you have of course, do you remember the lowercase Roman numeral 7 with a DIM, or you can have a degree symbol, okay? Or you can write it with an uppercase B with a DIM or a lowercase b with a degree symbol. And again, this program wouldn't allow me to do that. So those are some of the ways of writing down the chord symbols. I suggest that you take some staff paper and write all this down, okay? And this will help start to commit these things to memory. In fact, when I took music theory, I repeated writing these things down in a staff paper book to help really imprint it into my brain. And I would write the scales multiple times. I would write the chords multiple times, the intervals multiple times. I would do this until it was just imprinted in my brain what it would be. Okay? Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring the notification bell for more videos like this. I am here to help give some free education on basic music theory, and this is some of the basic music theory, and there will be more of these videos coming. All right, catch you on the next video.